Law News Network. I'm your host for a little bit this afternoon, also editor-in-chief of LawNewz.com. We are officially in verdict watch for the Frank Bybee attempted murder trial, a trial we've been following out of Florida. We'll have more coverage about that this afternoon, but now I want to turn to a special segment that we have for you this afternoon. It follows an explosive story that hit the New York Times yesterday afternoon regarding media mogul, studio executive Harvey Weinstein, who is accused of sexually harassing women over a 30-year time span. According to the Times' anonymous sources, he agreed to settle with at least 8 of these women. It's been a shocking story for many of us that have been following it, and even more shocking to me is the fact that Lisa Bloom, who is a feminist attorney who has represented for decades now women who have accused high-profile men of sexual harassment, she is the one representing Harvey Weinstein in all of this. And I'm pleased to say she's joining us here on set. Immediately after I found out you were representing Harvey, I sent you an email saying I was shocked by this. What's your reaction? I mean, there's been outrage that you're representing him.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of outrage. There are some people who have sort of scratched their head. I think when people have read my statement and seen the work that I'm doing, a lot of people have been very appreciative. My client Jill Harth, for example, who was the first Donald Trump accuser, said, you know, I wish that Donald Trump had done just what Harvey Weinstein has done, which is just apologize. That's all that Jill ever wanted, instead of calling her a liar. I do usually represent women on the other sides of cases like this. That's true. And I've often thought, gee, I wish I could just be in the room with the other side and just talk to that guy directly and tell him how to handle himself a little better. Well, this was an opportunity to do that. I know Harvey Weinstein because I have a book that he's making into a television series, and I'd heard about some of these rumors, and Harvey and I had some very frank conversations about it. And my suggestion to him was, you know, take the high road. You've made mistakes in your past. Frankly, we've all made mistakes. Some are worse than others. He denies a lot of these allegations, but he does admit to some kind of loose talk sometimes, some inappropriate words and language in the workplace, and to having a problem with anger. I'm like, you know what? Don't attack the women. Don't disrespect them. Don't hire investigators to dig up dirt on them. And you know, that's the old playbook. Let's not do that. Let's conduct yourself with some dignity now. And this was not a hard sell. Harvey's response was, yeah, let's do that, and that's what we're doing.
And Lisa, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about the specific allegations as they relate to Harvey, but I want to ask you on a personal level, because you are a feminist attorney. You're a proud feminist. I follow you on Twitter. You go to all of the marches. You're always wearing pink. You've represented...
not wearing pink now.
Not today, but you've represented some of the victims, alleged victims of Bill O'Reilly. Many people have said you're instrumental in the reason he got fired from Fox News. We met the first time when you were representing Jill Harth, who's one of Donald Trump's alleged sexual harassment victims. A lot of people would say you are being a hypocrite by now changing sides. Your reaction?
I'm not changing sides. You know, I guess some people, and I question how much they do to move the ball forward for women's rights other than being a Twitter troll, but you know, there are many different ways to get to a goal. So I litigate cases, I write books, I speak out at conferences and marches, and here was an opportunity to actually be in the room with somebody accused of this stuff and change the pattern. Every other case that we have seen has been attack the women, disrespect them, you know, call them liars, ask their friends and family to come out and say negative things about them, stick up for yourself, you know. And I saw an opportunity to change that. So let me just finish and say, I want to be clear that Harvey does deny a lot of these allegations, but we have to be able to hold in our mind that he does, but he also admits that over many years, he also has done things wrong.
So what specifically does he deny?
He denies a lot of the allegations in the New York Times.
Which ones?
And I'm not going there, and I'll tell you why. Because then the next story is going to be, Lisa Bloom says this woman or that woman is lying. And we're not
But
doing
isn't that important, though? I mean, if he's going to sue the New York Times, isn't it important for us to know what's a lie and what's not?
If he does do that, you will see that in the lawsuit, and that's being handled by a different lawyer, okay?
Oh.
But, you know, I'm trying to make a very clear statement here that, listen, you work in the law, you know as well as I do. In any case, when two people are asked to recall something from 25 years ago, they are going to recall it differently. So there's a difference of opinion about what happened. There's a significant difference on some of the facts. There are other witnesses who recall facts differently. But I don't want to get into that issue. I don't want to, we're not going to relitigate that. What we're going to do is go forward with some dignity and some compassion and some respect.
But okay, I got to stop you there, because I do have...
I know the press doesn't like dignity and compassion
No, I
and
understand
respect.
that, Lisa, but I do have a problem with your statement that you sent out yesterday. Because I know you, and I've known you for the years and know how you react to situations when you're on the other side. And in your statement, you said that Harvey Weinstein, he is an old dinosaur learning new ways.
Keep reading. Keep reading. Oh, that's just the one sentence you didn't
Well,
like. Did you read the whole statement?
I read the whole statement, but
Okay.
this is the particular line I want to go at you about.
Okay.
Because if Bill O'Reilly's attorney, when we were in the midst of that whole scandal, had said something like this, I have no doubt you go after.
Okay, show me where Bill O'Reilly said, I have caused pain and I sincerely apologize. Show me where Bill O'Reilly ever acknowledged any...
But how is it right to say they're an old
Are you going to
dinosaur?
let me speak? Okay.
Go ahead.
Show me where Bill O'Reilly apologized. Show me where Bill O'Reilly treated his accusers with respect, even when he disagreed with them. Show me where Bill O'Reilly brought in a feminist attorney who he authorized to go out and say, he is very sorry. He has done wrong. You don't like the old dinosaur line, which went on to say how embarrassed Harvey is, how apologetic he is, how pleased I am to work with him behind the scenes and have very blunt, open conversations with him about what sexual harassment is and how he needs to learn and grow. You don't like that one line, fine. But let's focus on the big picture here and how this is a novel approach, a very different approach.
But isn't that kind of, and I get it, it goes in the bigger statement of what you're saying, but the fact that you even said that, isn't that just kind of casting away like this is a generational problem?
No,
and
because you obviously
it's casting
didn't-
away the seriousness of what he did?
You're fixating on one sentence out of a page-long statement where there were profuse apologies. I'm sorry you didn't like me calling him an old dinosaur before I went on to talk about how he is trying very hard to evolve and change and conform his conduct to the way that we expect of people in 2017. That's what he's doing. You may not like it. You may not want to accept an apology. Other people may not want to accept his apologies. That's fine. But I think apologies are a good thing.
Okay, so Lisa, when you tweeted out the full statement, which is also available on our website so people can read it, it's rather lengthy, so I'm not going to read the whole thing now.
It's one page.
You got some reaction on Twitter. One person said, he's only 64. You are really doing a disservice to victims of sexual assault by minimizing his responsibility, stating he's an old dinosaur.
Okay, I don't believe he's been accused of sexual assault.
I
don't know how much time you want to spend on old dinosaur. I'm going to be an old dinosaur by the end of this interview if we continue focusing on that particular word choice. I think you should look at his words about, I have caused pain to people. Who else has said that in this kind of a situation? I am sorry, but don't judge me by my words. Judge me by my actions going forward. I have brought in Lisa Bloom to teach me how to be a better person. Who else has said that? Don't those words deserve some attention?
Would you, let me ask you this. If Bill O'Reilly's watching this whole saga go down, and he called you up, and he said, Lisa, I need your tutoring, would you do it?
Maybe.
Even after all those things you said against him?
You know, I think some people want to change. I, having spoken to Harvey Weinstein at great length over the period of a year, and really getting to know him, I think he does very genuinely want to change. Will he change? Time will tell, as he says. If Bill O'Reilly said, Lisa, I acknowledge that I did bad things. I acknowledge that I made mistakes, that I hurt people, that I used inappropriate language. Will you work with me to teach me how to be better going forward? I might, if I thought that was genuine.
You might work with Bill O'Reilly?
Yeah. All right. If he wants to change. You know, you have to keep in mind what work with. You know, people are saying, Lisa Bloom is defending Harvey Weinstein. You know, there's no lawsuit. I'm not representing him in any kind of litigation.
Well,
I'm not representing, if I may finish,
sure.
so I'm not cross-examining women. I am trying to teach him to be better. I have an opportunity to be on the other side, to work with somebody who wants to change. Now, some people are going to say, we're going to throw this whole thing out. We're not going to give him an opportunity to change. I've already made up my mind. Okay, fine. I can't reach those people. But other people have said to me, you know, wow, this is really a big deal.
Let's talk a little bit, and you mentioned it, how you initially met Harvey, and that was because he got involved with wanting to produce a mini-series for your book.
Well, it's not, I actually met him years ago, and I see him occasionally at events and things like that. So, but that's not how I initially met him. But we started
okay,
really,
that's how you kind of had more of a professional relationship.
Yes, we've been working, we were working together on the deal, and then working together on the project.
So, did this play in at all to your decision to represent him, the fact that he's helping you and bought the rights to your book?
No.
I mean, because a lot of people will say, okay, she's just seeing green here.
Okay, I love a lot of people will say. Are you saying that?
These are comments I've been getting
okay.
from Twitter, Facebook.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah. So this is social. So this is social media trust. So I do make a living as an attorney. Mm-hmm. I get compensated in one way or another on most of my cases. I probably do more pro bono cases, which means for free, than most other attorneys. We do a very large number of pro bono cases. Other clients do compensate me. Is there something wrong with that?
No, I mean, I'm just asking if it played
in fact, I probably make a lot more money when I'm on the plaintiff side, because those are typically contingency cases, and we do very well in those cases. But so, you know, again, if people want to criticize that I make a living as an attorney,
well, I don't think that's, no, Lisa, I don't.
You
I don't
see green, well, attorneys generally do get paid for our work.
Absolutely, and I don't think that's what I'm necessarily saying, but you've been admirably so and well respected by many in the women's rights movement as an attorney who has stood up and represented these women.
Yeah.
And so
I'm not
minimizing
which
the
I
fact
still
that you
do
need
every day.
that you need to make money as an attorney. I'm just asking, you know, is there a point where if you're going to be an advocate for a certain side that perhaps you say, okay, I can't go there?
Well, do you ask this of other attorneys? You know, most attorneys take whatever case comes in the door, okay? I don't do that. I probably turn away 99% of the cases that people come to me. I turn away a lot of sexual harassment cases on the plaintiff side because I don't find them to be corroborated or credible. So all day long, I'm on my phone looking at potential cases going pass, 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 pass. And some of them are very heartbreaking stories, but I don't believe those are winnable cases, and so I don't take them. People like Harvey have reached out to me on the other side, and I've taken those cases over the years. I have a general practice law firm. We do business litigation, we do family law, we do a lot of cases the media is not interested in, like run-of-the-mill race discrimination cases, disability rights, police misconduct cases. We have a heartbreaking case on behalf of a 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed by the LAPD. We have 9 cases for sexual assault against Uber, trying to get Uber to change their policies. The media is not particularly interested in any of those stories. I'm representing Harvey Weinstein. I believe I'm doing something positive to change the way he responds to allegations, to do it with respect and compassion. If people don't like it, that's fine. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But at the end of the day, I think I'm doing something positive being on the inside, on the other side. Monday, I go back to a high-profile sexual harassment case on the plaintiff's side, which is the side I'm normally on.
So let me ask you then, just getting to, you're going to go in there and you're trying to help this company reform some of their policies. Mm-hmm. And this is something that many companies probably struggle with too. What are some of the main recommendations, I don't know if you can share with us, that you've told him this needs to change?
Well, that hasn't happened yet, so that's going forward, something that both Harvey and I would very much like to do. You know, let's do a full review. Mm-hmm. There are obviously some issues here that need to be addressed. You know, for example, do you have a good sexual harassment policy in place? Does everybody know if they have complaints of any kind, who they can go to, and that they feel comfortable going to report them? What is the mechanism? Do people feel comfortable talking to this person? Is it going to be in writing? Is it going to be verbal? Is there going to be a prompt, thorough investigation as the law requires? Or is there going to be fairness to all sides, right? I mean, that's what's required. Should we go back and look at what has been done and what mistakes were made? Yes. If any were made, I think we should do that. You know, that's all part of it. I think everybody in that workplace and in every workplace should feel that they are working in a workplace where their legal rights are protected.
And what's the plan going forward with Harvey? Are you planning to meet with some of his executives in his company in terms of that?
I would welcome that if they are willing to meet with me. I think at this point, Harvey is taking a break. I don't know how long that's going to be, so we're going to have to see.
And Leslie, I gotta ask you too, because a lot of people, like I mentioned in the women's rights movement, are also not only big admirers of you, but also your mother, Gloria Allred. Did you discuss with her, did you say, hey, Mom, I'm going to be representing Harvey, what do you think about this? Did she give you the okay, or did that not become a conversation?
Well, at 56, I no longer ask my mother's permission to make
curious how the
decisions about my
conversation went
law
down.
firm. How did the conversation go down? Well, she knew that I was very excited about a year ago that Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z bought my book, Suspicion Nation, and were making it into a documentary film series about racial injustice in the criminal justice system, something that's very important to me. And I think I told her probably occasionally that I was in conversation with him, and you know, I found him to be very genuine, very real, very honest, very open, in kind of a surprising way. But beyond that, I really couldn't tell you.
Okay, so she didn't have any comment about you kind of representing him in terms of the allegations.
Well, I think she did make a comment yesterday to the press before she read my statement. And she said something like, I would represent women on the other side even if my own daughter was opposing counsel. That was surprising because I would certainly not represent any clients who were adverse to my lawyer mother or my lawyer daughter, because I put family before business. So, but you know, everybody's going to make their own decision. Everybody's got their own opinion, and they're entitled to it.
So one of the great things about LawNewz is we have like live interaction throughout this, and we've been getting a lot of comments because one of the things that you said in terms of what you're going to do for Harvey Weinstein is to tutor him in the ways of the world. Tutor him to be a better person, I guess?
I don't know if I said in the ways of the world.
Well, at least how you're supposed to conduct yourself in front of women and in a workplace. One person on our chat asked, does anyone else know of someone hiring an attorney to help them become a better person?
I don't know.
So this is a somewhat unusual arrangement.
You know, everything is unusual in the way that Harvey is handling this moment. I don't know if we all have to do things the way that they've always been done. The way that they've always been done in the past has been very hurtful to women, and I've been very critical of men who have handled it that way. So, you know, people know me, they know my record, they know how strongly I feel, they know the books that I've written about women's rights, and, you know, behind closed doors with Harvey, I'm the same person. And, you know, he did choose me for this, and, you know, I think that says something.
And I, you know, for doing this is obviously a very bold move on your part. One of the things I know you said in your statement that was really important to you is that Harvey does not go after the victims, alleged victims of this. It also came out yesterday that Charles Harder, who is the very well-known defamation attorney who went after Gawker and basically put them out of business. He's very good at what he does. He's also been hired by Harvey, and he is planning or is going to file a lawsuit, a defamation suit against the New York Times. In so doing, though, isn't he calling some of these women liars then?
No, he's not. It's a good try, but no. So our beef is with the New York Times. It's not with the women.
So then it's true what they said.
The New York Times refused to take into consideration witnesses and evidence that we presented to them. And for example, you know, they would take a memo that an employee had written And then 2 days later, she said, I withdraw that. And they refused to mention that. They would take an allegation that an employee said, I think Harvey Weinstein had sexual relations with this other person and that makes me uncomfortable. The other person who we contacted said, absolutely not. So, you know, this is a complex story. There are dozens and dozens of allegations. As if, you know, if this were in litigation, you know, at the end of the day, it would shake down that probably some would be true and some would be false. But we did not have that opportunity because the New York Times gave us a very short deadline. So I'm not handling that part of it, but I know that Charles Harder and Harvey Weinstein feel very strongly that the New York Times rushed to get out a story very quickly without giving him a fair opportunity to respond, and that some of the facts were wrong.
Some of the facts were wrong, so they're going to be challenged. That we'll be waiting to see what happens with that lawsuit. I just want to thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. I think it's very interesting to kind of hear the bigger picture of how you got involved and why you're involved, especially because of your unique role in this case. Is there any closing comments that you wanted to add to that we didn't get to?
I don't think so.
Okay, Lisa, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to